So, Nam aloha, everyone. Apologies for the delay. Just, had to get a lot of things together. And I like to have my images too. So, this is a live stream on the full moon. And we're going to go through the 12 zodiac signs. And so if you could just put your name and where you're logging in from, that would be great. And then you can put your sign too. Sun, moon, rising, if you know it. And if you don't, go to astro.com and you can get your free astrology chart. Okay. So I did the last live stream is according to the human design types. So that's another perspective to take on how the full moon will affect you. It's coming up on August 11th. So in a couple days. And there's a link below where you can get your free human design chart too. And also I cherry picked a little segment from there about emotional triggers, which I think will help people beyond the full moon, because this full moon is the train. The train is racing now. It's like going to be racing down the track. So time's a ticking for you to get on your timeline and to get aligned with this new energy, right? These divine energies. So I'll go into this. So let me just get my is it that one? Let me see. Oops, wrong one. This should do it. Yeah, there we go. There's me up there. Okay, so this is the chart, everyone. The human design chart for the full moon on August 11th. And it's what do I want to get into first? So it's in the shadow of also my recorded readings too, just to announce before I get into this, is still 50% off for the month of August. And this is all about deconditioning, letting go of your false self, the Aquarian age that we're heading into. There's no room for you to be a fake, for a fake person, artificial person. If you want that, then keep going off the cliff with the rest of the people, right? The rest of the world that are making their choices to live this artificiality existence. But if you really want to be yourself, because this is why you've come to this planet, is to be yourself, to realize who you are, and out of that comes your soul purpose and your destiny. This is your happiness, your joy. That's all connected to that. That's what we want. So these readings really help you to optimize. It's like you're a Ferrari and you're putting garbage in, right? Like really low, sand and all this other mixture into your car, and it's for a Pinto, but you're a Ferrari. So this gets you up to Ferrari, what you're designed according to your human design chart, what you're designed to eat, the right environment for you, how your brain works, what you're supposed to see out in the world. We're not all supposed to see the same thing. How to make your decisions, most importantly, by your aura type. And then a Kundalini Yoga meditation to rip off the mask is very powerful meditation. It's probably one of my favorites, actually, because it works. Okay. Okay, Satnam, everybody, welcome. Yeah. Okay, Anna, Anna's wrote a really good comment here. The train is full speed already. Yeah, that is for sure. 3 years after the painful events, my emotional triggers are pushed all the way. So we're going to talk about these emotional triggers, because this is the shadow of reaction. So you can see the moon here is in the 49.1, and that's coming off the solar plexus there. I don't know if you can see. Okay, there we go. So you can see the 49 up here where the heart is. Okay, it's the moon is there, Saturn is there, the earth is there. Right, very, very powerful. So this is going through a huge mutation anyway. Remember, we're evolving This is what the craziness, what we're seeing out in the world is just a reflection of what's going on in the unconscious of humanity, because we're evolving into a whole new species. And this chart, this is the solar plexus. It's going through a huge mutation for 2027. We're going to see things go really rapid fast. I mean, it's starting now. It's just going to get faster and faster, the changes that we're going to see in the world, because this mutation is happening. So this 49th gate, right, is going through a huge mutation. It's part of the solar plexus mutation. So this is the shadow of reaction. So this is all about your emotions. It's the shadow of reaction. It's the gift of revolution. And it's the city of rebirth. So just a reminder, I don't like repeating myself, but I feel really my intuition is like, no, you got to be repeating yourself. Just to put everything in context, especially the people that are new to my channel. So this is the evolutionary process right now. We're in it. So we've moved from a physical awareness system. Awareness system is how we experience life as humans, right? So we're evolving past, I mean, we've already evolved past this physical awareness where we were just completely focused on survival. And it was all about keeping the body alive, keeping the species alive. And I think we did a good job, eh? We're still here as humans. We haven't destroyed ourselves yet. But this doesn't mean like this goes away. It's just there. It's our ancient awareness system. And clearly some people are still stuck here, right? It's all about root chakra stuff, right? And then we've evolved into a mental awareness system, and that's where we are now, and that's experiencing life through the mind, right? So duality, this and that. This gives us this illusion of separation, right? The mind sees everything as separate. It's all about the ego too. And then we're evolving into this emotional awareness system, okay? And once we move through this, because we've got to deal with all those stuck emotions that need integration. So this is the work. The spiritual work is your inner child work, your emotional work, and your shadow work. And then this moves into the solar plexus mutation that's happening, and that moves into spirit awareness. That's going to mutate into spirit awareness, and this is going to be our new awareness system. And this is when we experience, we don't think about unity. We don't think our way through life. We feel our way through life. And then we have this experience of unity, right? Unconditional love, peace, harmony. We, the language of we, not the language of me, and the heart-based living. So the powers that be out in the world are trying to stop this evolutionary process, which you can't stop. You can't stop evolution, right? So the work here and the emotional triggers are right here. And so our emotional body develops from 0 to 7 years old, okay? And then we go to the mental body, and that's 7 to 14, and then 14 to 21 is the physical, right? So you can notice that when you were a teenager, you became really obsessed with your body and the world, and right? And the physical, getting transfixed by the physical. That's when we got sucked in to the physical world, right? And then the mental developed from 8 to 14, right? So it's the 0 to 7 years old here that we're dealing with. And this is the way through evolution, right? So I've got that other slide here, right? So this is spirit awareness, which is on the other side. And we don't get to spirit awareness until we move through this emotional body, our emotional body, right? So we have to leave behind the ego. That's the ego. He represents the ego in my world, worm tongue. We've got to leave behind the ego in the mind, and we've got to step into our emotional body, right? Which is very, very turbulent right now. And you can see in the chart too, right? If you go to Neptune, Neptune's all about the merging into one. It's the spiritual path, right? And right there, it's in the 36, which is also coming off the solar plexus. This is the shadow of turbulence, and it's the gift of humanity and the city of compassion. And this is all about being emotionally vulnerable. So it's also echoing this message. The sky is echoing this same message to us, is that we have to go through here, right? So that means going back to the 0 to 7 years old, right? To purify the emotional body. We're purifying the emotional body, and then we get to spirit awareness. There's no other way, right, than this. So the thing with 0 to 7, because the mind hasn't developed yet, we don't have memories that come in stories and pictures and things like that. The memory is emotional memory. It's in the cells, right, of our being, this emotional memory. So what happens as children, we don't go through the whole process because our emotional body hasn't fully developed yet. It hasn't matured. So we shut down. It's the coping mechanism of the child, right? Which is brilliant in a sense, right? It worked, right? It's like, okay, I got through. I'm still holding my light. I'm still holding my light as an adult, but I have these stuck emotions now that I have to complete. I couldn't complete them as a child. It was just too overwhelming for me, for the child's psyche. So you shut down, right? You shut down your heart. So this is what's happening in the world right now. This is getting poked through the solar flare activity of the sun. The sun is penetrating the aura of the earth. The sun is penetrating the aura of the human, and it's provoking, pounding that emotional body to start releasing, because these are where all our ancestral memories are too, right? In this emotional body. So this is what's being released right now, right? So this is the shadow of reaction. But as you can see, there's this revolution. This is the real revolution. It's an emotional revolution. The rebirth is an emotional rebirth. We're rebirthing ourselves through the emotional body, right? So that we get to the spirit awareness. So emotional health is about movement. It's about movement of the emotions. That's your emotional health. That's where your wisdom is, right? When you're in the spirit awareness, this is where your intuition is, this experience of unity consciousness, your authenticity, and your true intelligence. But the mind won't let you know that, right? We've worshipped the mind. We've taken the mind as far as it can go now, right? This is a dangerous place now with this train speeding faster and faster and faster, is to be relying on this, because this is all about the past, and the past is bye-bye. The past is gone. It's gone. We're in this whole new frequency now, right? It's all about coming, the Aquarian age is all about coming more and more into the present moment, more and more into the now, where that's past and future disappear. It's just the present moment and now. The mind's not equipped for that, right? The mind is, when you go to your mind to make decisions, it's all about the past. And even if you're making a decision about the future, you're projecting the past onto the future. Well, this happened to me, 10 years ago, so this is going to happen to me. Or this worked for me 10 years ago, so this will work for me. It's like, no, you can't go here. You have to go to your intuition. And that's your true guidance, and your true intelligence is to listen to this 100%, right? So let's talk about this gate, this 49th gate. So it's the shadow of reaction, the gift of revolution, the city of rebirth. It's the gate of values. This comes from the gate of values. So the fear here is rejection. This is what we're letting go of for the full moon, is the fear of rejection, the potential to let go, if you want to let go of this fear of rejection. And then the other fear is that you're cut off from the support of society, which is rejection, right? Because this gate is all about the tribe. It's like, here you go. We're going to provide you with food and shelter and a job and this and that. The tribe says, but you have to do this. You have to believe in this, in the God we tell you to believe in. You have to follow the laws of the land. You have to do this. You have to get an education. You do this, you do this. We provide all this for you, but there's always a bargain, right, with the tribe. Here's the bargain. Well, this is breaking down. This whole channel is breaking down for the Aquarian age. This is this, right? The Titanic is going down. All these systems and support networks that we've had for a long time now, right? Especially after the Industrial Revolution. Little g is going down. The educational system's going down. The medical system, the financial system, the legal system, religion's going down. Marriage is going down. The institution of marriage, military, and police. All these systems that rooted in fear and control, because it's false. It's not real. Fear, right? Fear is not real. We'll go into this, right? Like it's rooted in this fear, the structure of fear. It's rooted in ego, really. So this is going down, and we're seeing it out in the world now. It's just going to get more and more crumbling. It's going to crumble. So you got to get yourself off the Titanic now. This is what the train is moving. The train is moving towards this lifeboat, speeding away. There's the lifeboat, and what's the lifeboat? Is big G. You got to go from little g to big G. And that's the divine, right? This is what you're aligning yourself with right now. If you choose, you could choose to stay on the Titanic and go down with the ship. I wouldn't want that. I don't want that timeline. I want this timeline, right? This is why I've come to this planet at this time and space, and I'm sure that you feel the same way. There's no coincidence why you were born now. Right? We've got, because people can go into a state of inadequacy, right? Like, well, I don't know if I can handle this. It's like, no, you can handle it. Just the fact that you're born at this time, that you're even watching this channel, and that you're interested in spirituality and astrology is telling you a lot because of your past lives, right? We've spent many past lives, right? Working towards this moment in time. So this is about trusting yourself and trusting big G and trusting the divine. So there it is, right? Our world is crumbling and falling apart, and who comes along? Big G. Come over this way. And so when you make this leap into big G, into trusting the divine 100%, trusting your intuition 100%, you make the leap. You're going to see other people on that boat with you, right? This is your soul tribe. It's waiting for you. But you have to make that leap on your own. Nobody can do that for you. Nobody can do that work for you. And it always involves a leap of faith on the spiritual journey. So we're in a test. That's what I see. We're in a test, a very, very important spiritual test now. Right in the time that we're in right now, it's like choice point. What are you going to choose? So really my message is for the fence sitters, right? Those are the ones that are crowning. I love that image, of the baby that's crowning. And so the baby, some babies are going to stay in the womb, right? They're going to stay on the Titanic, and they're going to learn through darkness, right? And maybe it's not their time in this lifetime, right? No judgment. Maybe it's another lifetime for them, or another one. But the ones that are crowning, the ones that are crowning, and their heads coming out, and they're starting to wake up, right, to what's really going on in the world, and waking up to their true nature, and they're poking their head out, and they're looking around, right? And it's like, I can't go back in there. I can't go back in the womb because it's way too uncomfortable. My life is way too uncomfortable to go back here. I've just had enough of this. But then I'm coming out, and it's like, I don't know about this either, right? This is scary. This is so unknown, right? These are the people I want to reach. The ones that are crowning, that are on the fence. They don't know, right? Am I going to go back, or am I going to go forward? Right? So we all have to make that leap, right? We all have to come out of the womb. We're all being birthed, right? This is 49, right? We're being rebirthed. So let's talk about this fear of rejection. So we have to let go of these old systems, and we have to trust that, when we're aligned with these higher frequencies of Big G and the divine, and they're coming in strong. If you take time every day to meditate or just be quiet with yourself, like take pauses during the day, you're going to feel these higher frequencies, and they feel good, right? The rift is really, that's what I'm noticing myself in my own experience, that rift, like the juxtaposition between the two of aligned with the higher frequencies, and then going into fear and worry and doubt and all that, it's just like night and day how you feel. So your emotions are going to show you, right? Your feelings are going to show you where you're at in terms of your consciousness. But this is where you want to be, right? With Big G. So let's go into the fear of rejection, because this is what's really stopping people from making that leap. So your intuition has been telling you, has been communicating to you for a while now about what actions you need to take. This is the Aquarian age is about the language of action, right? It's not about waiting for a savior. It's not about waiting. There's no saviors coming, right? That's the Piscean age, one master and many students and disciple, because there was only the frequency of the planet, and the Piscean age could only hold the frequency of one or two masters at a time on the planet. Now the frequency is raising where we can all have the potential to be masters, right? There's that room now energetically. So you have to be your own savior. And it's not listening to this, right? That's not your savior. The ego is not your savior. Big G is not little G is not your savior, right? Not at all. This is your savior, is your own divinity. Big G is your savior, not little G. Little G wants to be the savior, wants to be God, wants to take the place of this, right? So you don't want to be listening to this. So let's look at the rejection, this fear of rejection. So why we react emotionally, according to this, right? This gate, this 49th gate that we're letting go of, is because we actually fear rejection. That's why we react to other people emotionally. So if you go deeper, well, that doesn't make sense, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, go deeper. Don't stay on the surface of things. This is not about staying superficial now, not in the time that we're living in now. It's about going to the depth of who you are, going deeper than that. And you'll realize the truth of that, why did I react that time? Oh, I felt that person was going to reject me. This is a primal wound of humanity. We all have it. So let's say this opportunity is coming towards you. Your intuition is telling you to either go towards a person or leave a situation that you're in, go towards something else. Like it could be a career, or go back to school, or learn something, or put your shingle out, right? And work for yourself. Whatever it is, whatever your intuition is telling you, right? Your intuition's communicating to you all the time. It will get you up in the middle of the night if you're not listening. And the intuition will create chaos in your life. If you're not listening, it's like you're either, and then you go kicking and screaming. So it's best to just listen and start acting on your intuition now, because it's just going to get louder and louder, because it's about getting you on the right timeline. It's about getting you on your path, your true path. So what the ego does, so the intuition is telling you something, and then you've got these feelings of rejection coming out. And then the ego is right in there, right? And this is the voice in our head that we believe is us. It's been there since childhood, right? And the ego is like, do what I say, right? And you believe it, right? That ego's voice is your voice. It just sounds just like you, right? That ego. So it's like, what the ego is really saying is, do what I say, or you'll be rejected, or you'll be rejected. Do what the little G tells you to do, or you'll be rejected. You won't receive support from little g, right? You'll be rejected from society. You'll be judged and ridiculed. You'll be the social outcast. It's a fear. This is our fears, right? Your human fears. So ego is like saying this. So it's saying it to you in your head, and it's also saying it to you through other people, like authority figures, perceived authority figures is telling you that. People in your life that are ruled by the ego are going to tell you, do what I say, right? And you won't be rejected. You'll be safe. That's the big promise. And you'll be anything but safe, right? Spiritually, you will be anything but safe when you're listening to this, right? So we're seeing it, right? We're seeing it out in the world, right? The consequences of the people, of the choices that people made in 2020, 2021, and then even this year. The consequences are there. People are experiencing it now. So what the ego will tell you, right, is don't bother acting on that, right? That's crazy. That's an illusion. You're in some kind of fantasy world. Like, you got to be with the real world. And the real world is, to the ego, is on the Titanic, right? This is the real world, the Titanic. That's what the ego tells you. This is the real world, is big G. That's the real world. This is the lie that we've been told, right? Since we were children, that this is the real world. This is all there is. The material world. You're just like this meat suit walking around with 5 senses, here to consume, right? And that's in the ego's promise of happiness. It's all lies, right? So ego says don't bother taking action, and then all the excuses of why you don't take actions. But meanwhile, it's really the root of that is this fear of rejection, right? That the ego is keeping you from. Or you won't get what you want. You never get what you want, right? Why bother? Just sit back, right? Life's better the devil you know than the one you don't, you know? Best you be comfortable here. And then all the reasons, the false security, right? Right? I'm in this marriage that I'm like so unhappy in, and I'm just feeling like my soul is like drying up and shriveling up, and I've lost my passion, and I don't feel like myself at all, and I'm depressed and I'm sad. The ego will say, well, he's got money. He's got money, right? He's got lots of money. He's got this house. He looks good, right? All your friends approve of this relationship, yada, yada, yada. You're listening to that, right? Not listening to your intuition, which is screaming like, get away from this relationship. It's time to move on. You've outgrown this. You've learned your karma. You learned your spiritual lessons. It's time to move on. And this is what's happening this year is musical chairs with relationships. People are getting out of their karmic relationships. They're entering into their true relationship, who they're destined to be with. That's emotionally fulfilling, that serves their soul purpose, right? And people are afraid to make this risk because of this rejection, this fear of rejection, right? You won't get what you want, that type of nonsense from him. And then reject yourself. That's the worst, right? The worst advice of the ego is reject yourself. Reject that part of you that has optimism. Reject that part of you that knows that you're here for a greater purpose. Reject that part of you that is spiritual in nature, right? Reject your intuition. Reject because of the fear. There's this fear that you need to acknowledge now. Or reject that person before they reject you. Well, this is what's wrong with them, and then pointing out all these petty little flaws in that other person, right? So the intuition is your true guidance, right? And this is coming from love, this frequency of love. So you have to trust that big G and your intuition have your best interests in mind, right? It's like your best friend. This is not your best friend. The ego is not your best friend. So this is what we're dealing with. So let's look at how to deal with this, like practically. So fear of rejection. Fear of rejection. Okay, I've got fear of rejection. Maybe you're not even aware of it, but I just want you to take it in. Like, just open your mind a crack to, like, this could be true. This is why I'm not moving forward in my life. My intuition is telling me this, but I keep trying to shut it down. I try to drink it away. I try to distract it away. I try to smoke it away. But there it is, right? That's the thing with the intuition. It's like, it's repetitive. It's the same message over and over and over and over and over again. It's your soul, right? So fear of rejection is just a frequency. That's all it is. It's a frequency moving through your body. And it's fear. It's the frequency of fear that's moving through your body. So what you do is you don't go into the story. You don't go into this and who's telling you the story. You don't go into the ego and then the ego starts telling you a story about why you're feeling fear, right? Because then you're trapped. Then you get trapped in the head. Okay, so fear of rejection. It's just fear moving through my body. That's all it is. Be neutral about it, right? This is when you're in the gap that I talk about. You know, when you're in spirit awareness, you can feel this. You're much bigger than this frequency of fear, right? So don't go into the story, and then you just feel it. You just feel it. You feel the frequency, and it's uncomfortable, right? But this discomfort leads to crying, and then it leads to this expansion into spirit awareness, right? So think of something that your intuition has been telling you to do, maybe for a while now, and it's like, oh, this fear of rejection, this fear stops me from doing it, from acting on it. Well, then you just stop. You don't go in your mind. You just stop. You take a pause, you do some breathing, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to open up to this frequency of fear, and I'm going to just feel it. And it's uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie. It's uncomfortable. You know this when you do emotional work. But you stay with it. That's your discipline. So I'm going to stay with it. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to just feel it. I'm just allowing it to be. And it's sensations, right, in the body. It'll be sensations in the body. And when you allow a space and you're breathing, no mind, no stories about it, you're just feeling it, it starts to move. And that's emotional health. That's emotional intelligence. This is what we're learning for the Aquarian age, right? Our educational system's all about the development of the mind, right? Especially the left part of the brain. Now we have to learn about our emotions because this is our evolution, right? Into the spirit awareness. So it's just about stopping, and it's like, I'm going to be committed no matter what, because the mind will get in there. You got to go get sugar, go get a drink, distract yourself with work, get on the phone, get on the internet. But you're just like, no, I'm going to feel this. I'm going to feel it. And then it's going to lead to crying. That's just the side effect of the healing. No shame, right? We've been shamed about all this stuff. We haven't been taught about our emotions. And this leads to crying. And then this greater expansion happens where you're more expanded. People probably that do emotional work, you know this. You just feel more at peace. You feel more expansive. Your nervous system starts to relax. I feel like a fuzzy blanket on me. It feels like a fuzzy energetic blanket comes on me when I expand into the spirit awareness, right? And then this gap gets farther and farther and farther from the ego and the mind, and this is where you want to be. So that's this, right? Is going into this emotional body. So you can see you got to leave this mind and the ego behind. This is just a block right now, a block. And ego wants you to stay here and not make a choice, right? The ego wants you to remain stagnant, right? But it's getting more and more painful not to act. So if you're feeling like you've got to make So, because it's about expressing yourself emotionally too right now, and especially in our relationships, is about becoming emotionally vulnerable. We're coming into unity consciousness, you know? We're coming into unity consciousness, and this is spirit awareness. That's unity consciousness. And this is the experience that we're all connected, that you're connected to every living creature. You're connected to all the trees, all the plants, all the birds, all the animals, all the sentient beings. You're connected to all of this, right? And how we're connected to spirit awareness is the emotions, and the emotions have to flow. So a lot of our problems can be like, even if you've got money problems and things like that, that means your emotions aren't flowing. They're unhealthy, and you're trying to repress, right? You're trying to repress these emotions from flowing, right? So the ego will tell you, right? Well, you can't be emotionally vulnerable with that person because they're going to reject you, right? And you're going to reject yourself, reject this part of you that wants to be emotionally vulnerable with another person. We all do. We all want to be seen as who we really are, who we truly are, right? Seen and accepted and loved for who we are. We all want that. The ego will tell you, well, you don't want to look powerless. You don't want to look vulnerable, because this goes back to this, right? When we were little children and our hearts were open and we were emotionally vulnerable, right? But we got rejected by a parent who probably got rejected by their mother and father. And then their mother and father, your grandparents, got rejected, and so on and so on and so on. So basically at one point you've got to say, this is enough. It's going to stop with me, right? It's going to stop with me. I'm going to stop this pattern, this emotional pattern. So what happens when you don't express your emotions? Because your emotions want to flow. They want to be expressed through you, right? Starts to get unhealthy. Okay, so it's like water. What happens with water when it doesn't flow and it's stagnant? It gets really unhealthy, the water. Same with our emotions. So what happens with your emotions is whatever you don't deliver, here it is, whatever you don't deliver can destroy you. Whatever you don't deliver will destroy you. It's this creative energy that wants to move through you. This goes for your soul purpose too. Will destroy you. It will destroy you. So how it does this, it will create physical problems if you're not expressing yourself physically. You may have like heart palpitations or high blood pressure or rashes. Something your body will show you that you're not letting your emotions flow. You're not expressing your emotions. Can lead to like money problems, things like that. And also like physical, especially around the neck. If you get like coughing or cold or flu-y, right? If I don't express myself, I journal write too. And I strive to speak honestly with all people, not like, it just depends on the person, right? It depends on the person really. But I mean, just journal writing, like start to be emotionally vulnerable with yourself, like journal writing. If I don't journal write, I start to feel stuff in my throat that I'm not expressing because I need to be expressing. We all need that for our emotional health, right? So you want to watch that, because the other thing too that can start obsessive thinking, if you have obsessive thinking about something, like the back and forth and the obsession, compulsion, that kind of thinking, it's like you can't turn off your head. It's because you're not emotionally expressing yourself, right? So just watch that. It's like, what have I been trying to push down? What have I been trying to ignore? Okay, I got to express this. Maybe I have to express it to that person, right? That I've been thinking about. Or maybe I've got to just write it down in my journal and just get it out, get it on paper, right? To keep things flowing. Okay, where do we want to go now? I think we'll go right into the readings here. So yeah, it's time to let that go. Time to let that go right now. So that's what I want to stress is like this, this doing this emotional work is really, really important right now. And this is how we get controlled. Look at mainstream news, right? Look at the headlines. It's all about getting emotional reaction from people, right? And it's all about dividing and conquering. Watch the language, right? Because the spelling, right? Casting spells is with the language, and it's all about this getting an emotional reaction from people, right? And then they can control you when you're just can go back and forth. You can be controlled emotionally. When you do your inner child work and you purify that emotional body, right? When things start flowing properly for you, then you don't get fooled. You can't be controlled by your emotions. You're not victimized by your emotions. Because this can alienate you, when you emotionally react to people and you're emotionally reacting to life because you don't want that hurt. You don't want to feel that hurt you felt when you were a little one from 0 to 7 years old. You can alienate people. You can do it to yourself. Like you're rejecting that little inner child that's calling for your support, that just wants you to be, if you're a mother, because mothers are great, like a healthy mother, how a healthy mother will fight tooth and nail for her child, right? Lifting up cars and doing anything to protect their child. You have to do that for yourself, for your own inner child, because you got a little inner child in you that is never going to grow up, right? You can heal this inner child and then it turns into the divine child, but that wounded child wants your attention. So have that fight, mama bears. I know there's quite a few mothers that watch this channel, right? To fight for your own inner child right now. And then you're not going to be controlled. You won't be controlled. So if you find yourself like right now, because we're all getting emotionally triggered left and right now, this is the potential for this rebirth. This is the true revolution. Is our emotions, like integrating these emotions from 0 to 7. This is our real revolution. And this is going to lead to the rebirth, an emotional rebirth for you. Okay. I had some notes. It's always strange trying to prepare for these live streams. It's just like, yeah, I just have to trust and be in the moment. Okay, let me look at some comments, and then we'll head right into the readings here. I like what you guys say. So Satnam, Massachusetts, and Karen, aloha, Kay from Ontario. And then good, you're putting your signs there. Satnam, Aquarius, and Karen. Okay. Yes, the birth process is rather painful at times. This discomfort, growth doesn't come without some kind of discomfort, right? It's growing pains, but it's so worth it. A Karen, 2 weeks with no phone. I felt abandoned and lost. After a while, peace came. That's great to take some a respite from technology. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Adi Shakti. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, that's the Kundalini energy, right? Their life force energy is their sexual energy. Is awakening. Yeah. Oh, I just thought of another video. I don't want to go into that now, but that's good. Thank you for sharing that. It just really got my mind spinning into a million directions. Yeah, that's very interesting. Okay. C.A. Patterson. So C.A. Patterson says, Satnam, hello everyone. Musical chairs, relationship musical chairs. The UPS man said that everything he would know, right? The postal service guy, UPS. Man said that everyone in town is getting divorced. Yeah. And I'm seeing that in my own experience too, right? People are leaving. And they're being forced to leave too. It's getting so miserable. Because we're coming together for different reasons. And it's the Aquarian age. We're coming into unity consciousness. So we got to start with at least one person, right? To come together. And the frequency's changing, right? So it's no longer fear. Fear-based frequency is still there. But there's these higher frequencies that are on the planet now. And this allows us to find each other, like our true soul allies. Yeah. Lisa, my emotions are running high. My 83-year-old bossy mom has had to move in with me, and my hubby really struggling with not having my wishes respected. Yeah. Well, use it, Lisa. Like, use it. Use these triggering, because your mom is just the messenger, right? So this is the story. Let's go back. This is really good. See, that's why I like the interaction. So, where is it? So part of the story here is to look at, okay, so your mom is just being your mom. So you don't want to be trying to change your mom. She's bossy and she's triggering your emotions. Your emotions from that 0 to 7 years old. So look at it. It's like, okay, in the fear of rejection, really work this. I feel rejected by my mother, right? And your mind will fight you and your ego will fight you. And it's like, no, I'm going to stay with this truth, that it's really a fear of rejection. And I'm just going to allow a space for this fear to just move through my body. No story. I'm not making up any story. I'm not focused on my mother. She's just a messenger. My mother is just a messenger. So what do? When the mailman delivers your mail, you don't invite your mailman in and start reading your letter to your mailman or getting him to read the letter to you. It's like you say goodbye. Thank you for the letter. I got the letter. So it's goodbye, Mom. Thank you for the message. And get the message. Don't go into any stories. And then you feel the frequency of this discomfort. That's all you feel. And you let her go. And the great thing, and then you go, right, then you have your cry. And then this leads to this expansion. And this is an expansion of your perception. And then your mom doesn't have to do that anymore, right? Or if she does do it, it doesn't get in. It's only getting in because it's poking. It's poking these emotions, right? These stuck, unintegrated emotions from your childhood. So that's an opportunity, Lisa. Opportunity. Like, God bless your mom for showing up. Right to your door, right? Knock, knock, knock. Here I am, the messenger. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. At least you got some fear to work through. That's good. Satnam, Robert. Yeah. Okay. Robert saying there's so much drama. Yeah. This is this full moon. And the train is going. It's moving now. We've been like just chugging along. Just like, and now it's, and it's just going to get faster and faster. Yeah. So it's really helpful to do this work for yourself so that you're not battered around. And you can be the lighthouse for other people, right? You can be that stable, calm presence. But use everything in your life that's bringing up any emotional triggers, because it's not about what's going on out here. It's about what's going on inside you. Okay. So let's see. Where we want to start. So everybody knows their sign, their sun, moon, and rising. Okay. Okay, we'll start with Pisces. We'll start with Pisces first. Yeah. And Pisces rising sun and moon has been happening. Lots of turbulence going on in your body, right? Your body, because it's the Neptune is there in the body position. Okay. So this fear of rejection, this 49 is taking place in your 12th house. And I want to just get the cards going here. I want to be focused. And remember the programming partner, like every gate has a programming partner. And you can see there with the sun, the programming partner here is the 4. And that's the shadow of intolerance, and it's the gift of understanding. And it's the city of forgiveness. So I'm sensing that the Pisces sun, moon, and rising may need to forgive someone in their workplace, someone in their workplace, an enemy they may perceive as an enemy, like, oh, this person's always my adversary, right? You may have to forgive. Because we can't be taking this energy into this shadow of intolerance into the age of Aquarius. So this reaction, fear of rejection, may have come from past lives, Pisces. Right? So one aspect of this, just because it's the 12th house, is like a rejection would be rejection from society where you were in prison. You were imprisoned in past lives. Maybe letting that go. Maybe you have a fear of that. A fear of going to prison. That's like the ultimate social outcast, right? Is you're put in jail, put in prison, put in a sane asylum. Remember, in past lives, all it took was like your spouse that didn't want you around anymore. Oh, she's crazy, right? Sign the paper. You could be sane, right? Saner than most. And then you're put away. It could be some of that stuff. But it could be also about your spirituality. Is going through some kind of rebirth. Okay, so what do we got for Pisces? 2 cards for Pisces. Yeah. You got 2 queens. 2 queens. So one's the Queen of Wands. And the other one's the Queen of Water. I'll do another Jinky card. So this is psychic ability. It's about loving yourself. So it's either you're going to, because the royal suits represent either people in your life, like you'll attract a Queen of Fire. That's like the entrepreneur type woman. She's a go-getter, gets things done. Or that's you. You need to bring in that energy yourself. Right now, you may be being called to be that, to be these archetypes. Okay, what else do we got? And the Queen of Cups is loving, right? Loving, psychic, very intuitive, giving. Okay. And then you've got the intuition card here. That's the Gene Key card. And that's connected to the 57 that comes off the spleen there. Yeah. So I feel that this is what you're being called to, this new rebirth for you, this emotional rebirth, is to come out of hiding, Pisces. The 12th house is hiding away behind the scenes, behind the curtains, maybe working behind the scenes, And the Queen of Wands is like, get out of my way. Where's the limelight, right? Get the light, get the light on me. Where's the mic? Give me the mic. That's the Queen of Wands. Just like a go-getter, right? Exuberant and determined. She makes things happen. Married with the Queen of Water, the Queen of Cups, which is loving and psychic. So I feel like it's really calling you now to come out of hiding, Pisces, and to really embrace this new timeline that you're on. And it's about forgiving, right? Somebody in your workplace, somebody you've worked with, is to forgive. Whoever comes up in your mind, it's like, oh yeah, I haven't been able to let that go, right? This person. It's time to forgive them. It's time to be the Queen of Water, the Queen of Fire, and also to listen to your intuition. So this is fear of the future, 57. It's unease. It's feeling this unease in your body, right? So to let that go, this fear of the future, because your future right here looks pretty good to me, Pisces. And not reject this part of yourself, right? That wants to really step forward. Maybe rejecting this part of yourself that's loving and giving and psychic. You know, because being a psychic also means, and Pisces understands this, right? That it means being sensitive, right? Sensitive to other people and sensitive to energy. And it's just to remember that, Pisces, that you're not vulnerable. You don't need to put walls up, is what I'm trying to say, or reject this part of yourself that's very, very sensitive. Because the world's changing. Everything's coming right side up again. So this is your strength. Your strength is your compassion, right? Your strength is your sensitivity and your vulnerability, your emotional vulnerability. Yeah. So it's really bringing this passion together with they can work together. They're not separate. This is what I'm trying to say. Right? That this passion for life and to make things happen and to be like the Queen of Wands is like, I'm in the material world, right? That you can have both. You don't have to be like sensitive little flower, right? Or this, or I'm all out there. I can have both. That's what this is saying. And it's saying to listen to your intuition, like really listening to your intuition. Your intuition is guiding you right now. Yeah. It's guiding you. Not to reject it. Don't reject your intuition. Yeah. And don't be listening to outside. It's time to be listening to inside. And I'm sure you've had an experience where you've been kind of forced to be on your own. Sometimes we're put in these situations so that we can start to really listen to ourselves, right? This is the gate of values right here. It's the gate of values. This is about finding your own values separate from mainstream society. And so the fear is, my values, like look at the world right now. Look at the world's values. Are you aligned with that? Are you aligned with the values of the world? Valuing money, right? Valuing like form and artificiality. You see where the world is going. What are your values? Maybe you value family. The world's not valuing family anymore. So, right? It's things are shifting. So Pisces, this is about listening to your intuition and getting clear on your values and then facing this fear of rejection. Right? Will my values be rejected by society? Do I have to adopt to these values that aren't mine, where I'm out of integrity so that I can survive, so I can be thrown a bug burger and cricket milk to eat, in a little pod to live in? Do I want that? It's about getting strong, Pisces, right? But your intuition is your friend. That's what I'm seeing here. And you're coming out of hiding for this full moon, right? And just get clear on your values. That's what I see. Not sure if there's any Pisces here. Lisa, so go get your okay. Thank you, Jen. Jen's going to handle one astrology problem, astrology question. So that's for Pisces. It's looking good for Pisces. Oh, I didn't put the thing up. Okay. Let's do... Also about forgiving yourself too, Pisces. Just because the 4 is there too. About forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself because you may have come into this lifetime with a lot of guilt, Pisces. So work on that too. Forgiving yourself. Right? Forgive the other person from your workplace from the past. Forgiving yourself. Maybe your health isn't doing great. Forgiving yourself for making bad decisions about your health. And then, yeah, it's about forgiving yourself and letting go and be this new version, this upgrade of yourself, you know? Okay. That was Pisces. And then we'll go to Aries. There we go. There's Aries. Mm-hmm. So Aries is feeling rejected, has to deal with this fear of rejection with their friendships. With their friendships, feeling rejected by their friends, facing this fear of rejection from their friends. Okay. Let's see. Maybe feeling, because we're going through so many changes right now, each one of us, and it's musical chairs for relationships. It really is. That includes our friendships. Friendships that are no longer aligned with where we're going. If we're choosing big G and they're choosing little g, you know, there's the rift right there. There can be this feeling of rejection. If I really show myself, Aries, will my friends reject me? And the thing is, what's really the cosmic joke is when you're honest and open with your friends, it's like, I'm just going to be who I am, right? I'm going to tell them what's been going on in my life. If they're true friends and they're aligned with you, they're going to be like, oh, me too. I've been feeling the same way too. There's just this risk that we have to take, right? But you want to know who's on your team and who's not. And the people picking little g are not on your team. They're not on your team because they'll turn on you. They'll turn on you because they believe all the programming. Okay, what's Aries going to say here? So that's what I see is you got to face your fear of rejection, your friendships, or your networks, like any groups of people that you belong to. Groups of people. Okay. So you got the Hangman card. So Aries, that's saying Aries is not so good with the Hangman and taking pause, because Aries is very instinctual, Aries, sun, moon, or rising. This is about gaining a new perspective on your friendships, like really look at them from a new place. Because it's the gate of values, right? This 49 Aries is the gate of values. So you want to make sure that your friends are on board. What are your values? This is what this is saying. It's like take some time to look at what are my values? What are my values? What's my compass right now? And are these friends aligned with my values? And look at it in truth. Sometimes truth is hard to look at. But then you know it, right? Once you know the truth about people, then you can make a sober decision. Yeah. And it's about awakening too. The Hangman is about awakening. So you may be bringing in some new friends. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's funny about this morning. Okay. So this is the, if you can see that, the discrimination. It's called discrimination. It's the shadow of vanity and the gift of discrimination. So this is the 12, right? The 12 here. And that is, this is all about the ego. It's about the ego. And so the discrimination, the gift of discrimination here is, you can see the 12, it comes off here, the throat chakra, right? Is, it's about discriminating what is aligned with you and what's not. What's aligned with your values and what's not aligned with your values. Who's aligned with you now and who's not aligned with you. So it's the discernment, right? This or that, this or that. Not everybody's coming with us. You know, that's what we need to realize now. And it's sad. It's not to dismiss that that's not a sad thing. That some people are not coming on, they're not coming on the train with us, right? But some are. So this is what it's telling me, is that Aries, you've got to face this fear of rejection in yourself, being rejected by your friends. And you may have to actually discern, not reject that person, right? These friends that you're letting go of. But this is to use this gift. So looking at vanity, right? Vanity is all about the ego. It's all about self-importance. To look at the friends that are there from the shadow, that this is connecting you. Well, that person is, some people, they collect friends because it seems like they're more interesting. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I have this friend and this friend and this friend, but I'm picking them not because of who they are, but their title or what they look like, or they're this or they're that. You don't really like them. It's more ego. It's like, oh, this boosts up my ego to have these interesting friends around me, or they make a lot of money, or they get a lot of attention, they're famous, whatever that is. That's vanity, right? That's all about bolstering the ego. You want to have friends that are bolstering up your soul and your soul purpose. So that's what it's saying, this full moon, Aries, is to really take pause with the hangman energy. Take a new perspective on your friends, because this is what it's saying. Some of them have to go. Some of them have to go. And some of them have to stay. Right? So that you can allow the new in. The universe doesn't like a vacuum. So if you let some friends go, then new friends that are more aligned with you and where you're headed, the timeline that you're on, they'll start to show up. Anything else about that? You may have to do some forgiveness work around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Around your child, if you have a child, Aries, sun, rising, or moon, or even your own inner child. There could be some forgiveness work that needs to be done there. To look at that. Okay. So that's Aries. Okay. And let's go for the Taurus. Going for the bull. Going for the bulls. And that's 10, of course. Right? 12. Yes, of course. It's 10th house. So the 10th house is about your soul purpose, Taurus. Maybe you've gotten some ideas, some inspirations that are coming to you from your intuition about your work and your soul purpose and what your intuition is saying where you need to go, but you're rejecting it. You're rejecting that intuitive guidance. And it's scary. And you think that you'll be rejected. This idea will be rejected. This business idea will be rejected. Why bother listening to the ego? Right? Feeling like that will be rejected by society, or you'll be rejected by society. Well, how can I know this. I've been self-employed since 2005. I think it was like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I stopped having that thought of like, oh, maybe I'll just get a JOB. It'll be easier. Just get a JOB. It's secure. And of course, that's not what my soul wanted. And I would not want to have a JOB, not at this point. I love working for myself. And whatever, this is the thing, right? With the Aquarian age, it's everything's has been inverted. It's like what seems secure is actually very insecure, right? Okay. Let's see. So there could be that fear, right? Like how can I make money from this? Can I take care of myself? With this idea, oh goodness. Taurus. Okay. So you've got the 2 of fire, which is the 2 of wands, and this is about planning. So this full moon is about not rejecting your intuition, right? Not looking at, because the thing is, we need to remember that the world is changing so fast. And your intuition knows, right? Like I said, the mind's all about the past. What worked in the past. Well, that's not going to work in the future. So who knows? Well, the mind doesn't know. Well, who knows? My intuition knows. My intuition knows what's coming. So it's just about listening. And one of your biggest questions to ask, Taurus, Taurus worries about the coin, right? And the material, their material survival. The second house, right? It's all about the material. Is, where was I going with that? Oh, the question you need to ask yourself, Taurus, is how can I serve humanity with my gifts and talents? So what are my gifts and talents, right? And then how do I interface that with the world? How can I serve the world? Okay, what's the other card here? And then forgiveness work is with your mother. With your mother. So forgiving your mother, this will help with this going towards your soul purpose. Okay, let's see what the card is. So it's time to be planning with 2 wands. Time to be planning. Oh goodness. Okay. So you've got the two of wands there. You got the Lovers card right there. And then you've got the 41 with gift of anticipation in the shadow of fantasy. So this is saying, and the 41, you just underneath this Taurus here. It's off the root chakra down there in the bottom. This is a start codon for the mandala. Like there's a whole wheel, and it's the beginning. It's the beginning of the whole new cycle of experience for you. That's what this is saying. This is like the Fool, right, in the tarot card. It's the beginning. So you're beginning a whole new cycle in terms of your work, and what comes with that is relationship, Taurus. Yeah. So this is when you go towards your soul purpose, because sometimes just because we're looking at the 4th house, right? You always look at the polarity. The 10 and the 4 are opposite one another. 4 is home, and it's about your emotional stability. Is what this is saying for Taurus is if you go towards your soul purpose, then this security comes, this emotional security in terms of relationships will come. But it's also saying that your relationship's going to be connected to your soul purpose. That's what I see too. Like this new relationship that's coming, because it's 41, is also connected to your soul purpose. It's not either this or that. It's like all. It's like the full enchilada, right? And it's partnering. Two ones is partnering. Yeah. So instead of going into fantasy, let's talk about this shadow of fantasy here, this 41. Fantasy is when it's a pipe dream, when it just stays a pipe dream. And that means it just stays up. We get hopium. You know what hopium is? It's like I get addicted to the feeling of the hope of this coming. I get addicted to the feeling of the hope of this divine union. That's what the Lover's card is. This is not just meeting someone on Tinder because they got a cute butt, right? This is like divine union. The divine is bringing you both together for a greater purpose, right? But the pipe dream, the fantasy is like, well, I'm addicted to this hope of this. I'm addicted to the feeling of this fantasy, right? Rather than bringing it into reality. This is how crazy the shadow patterns are, right? I'd rather it stay up here in the fantasy world, right? Than they coming down into real life, right? When the rubber hits the road, when that person actually arrives, right? That's a different thing. But there's a fear there, right? There's a fear of that. There's a fear. That's why we keep it in the realm of fantasy. So what this is saying is anticipation. It's just like you're open. You're not trying to control everything, every little detail of this. It's like I'm just open. I'm the fool on the fool's journey. I'm open to this new cycle, this new chapter in my life that looks pretty amazing, right? That's how this person is helping me with my soul purpose. I'm helping them with their soul purpose. And it's a divine union, right? Yeah. So it looks good. And I'm anticipating just for this. I'm anticipating for this, but I'm not going to stay locked into pipe dream mode. I'm going to take action, right? It's about taking an action. Yeah. So taking action towards your soul purpose and your career, your vocation, and forgiving your mother. Don't forget that. Got to forgive that mother for what she did or not did, because there's also the forgiveness with our parents and our earthly mother, earthly father, is we forgive what they did, but often it's about forgiving what they didn't do, what your mother didn't give you. It's about forgiving that. It's like, my mother didn't hug me, or she never told me that she loved me, or she didn't notice me or consider me. It was all about her, if you have had a narcissistic mother, right? This is what you have to forgive. And forgive is like to release them, right? So that's what it's saying. It's like you're holding yourself back because you won't forgive your mother, or you're trying to get those needs met through other people. And really that inner child, Taurus, wants that from you, wants that attention from you. So whatever you wanted from your mother as a child, that's what you give to yourself. That's how you heal this, right? And then you go through that process that I talked about, right? Going through this fear of rejection, like fearing being rejected by your mother, right? Maybe not wanting to experience that again. And this is what's coming up around your soul purpose. Because soul purpose, when you get the call for your soul purpose, it's coming from love. It's coming from divine love. It's love. You're an expression of this divine love through your soul purpose, right? So it's going to bring up this fear of rejection because there's just so much love. And you as a child had so much love for your mother. So to look at this, it's like, oh, this is what it's really, this is why it's happening, why I'm not moving forward on my soul purpose. I've been hesitating. I've been, digging my heels in. I've been distracting myself. It's because I'm fearing this fear of rejection coming up from when I was a child, right? So you just feel the fear, frequency of fear. That's all it is. Don't go into the story or the mind. And then just feel the discomfort. Just feel it. Discomfort, and this leads to crying, and then you get the big expansion. Boom, 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 and more intuition, and more wisdom, and more guidance, and then you're on fire for your soul purpose. That's what I see with the Taurus. But not to reject. Don't reject the intuitive messages that are coming through, especially around relationships too. Relationships. Yeah. Looks good for the Taurus for this full moon. Things are moving ahead. And your Aquarius rules your soul purpose. So it's going to be very future oriented, new. Very new and humanitarian. Okay. Okay. Let's go for the Geminis. The twins. Let's go for the twins, the Geminis. So that should be 9th house. The 9th house. Fear of rejection in the 9th house. So this could be a legal thing, Gemini. The 9th house rules the law. Maybe in some kind of court case or legal. Some kind of legal thing where you're feeling that you'll be rejected. Or fearing the law. Fearing the law. Man's law. It's also the 9th house is religion. So fearing, I don't know, maybe this comes from past lives too, right? Be rejected by God. This is what we've been taught. The lies we've been taught by religion. Okay, let's see what else here. It's your father too in ancient astrology. Could be like the dynamic there around your father. We'll see the card. The cards will give us a clearer picture here. Of Gemini. So just to scoot down to the 3rd house, so siblings, there could be some forgiveness work you need to do around your siblings. Okay. Okay, we'll take that one. So there's a lot of sorrow there, Gemini. You got the 3 of Swords there. Healing. So there's a broken heart there. 3 of Swords is a broken heart around the 9th house. So it could be with a spiritual teacher too. The 9th house represents that. You could have been betrayed by a spiritual teacher. It can be devastating for people. You know, they can be betrayed by their mother or father, but it's more painful when it's a spiritual teacher. Okay. This one, I'm going to say that because that just popped up. And then you've got the 3 right there. So it's the gift of innovation. This is the shadow of chaos. So this goes right back to your inner child. The 3 represents the inner child, Gemini. Yeah. So something's bringing up some old pain, a broken heart from your, you can see that woman, the 2 angels, right? Do you see that? She's, right, a lot of sorrow, a broken heart. So that's the thing, you know, with all this, triggering that's happening, right? It's just about opening up the heart again. And sometimes we attract these like seemingly devastating experiences into our life. You know, you've heard of this, like some parents and the baby's born and baby only lives maybe a week and then the baby's gone. And people are trying to understand, like, why did this happen? This isn't fair. Why would God do this to us? Well, sometimes souls come in and, okay, I'm just going to stay for a week. And it's really to get the parents to shatter their hearts open. That's the point of the Aquarian age. We're reawakening our hearts. We're opening up our hearts again, coming into our power. Unity consciousness, right? This is what connects us all as humans, is our hearts. It's what makes us human, is our hearts. So there's some kind of devastating event right from your past that's being triggered, but it's echoed back to this 0 to 7 years old. That's what I see. And it can be chaotic. The emotional body, when the emotional body gets stirred up, because remember the external reflects our emotional body, it can seem very chaotic on the external. Very, very chaotic. But it's just a reflection of this emotional body that's got stirred up, right? It's the water. Muddy water can look fairly clear when it's stagnant, but as soon as you get a stick and you stir it around, that's the turbulence, right? So it's around the 9th house matters. So maybe getting betrayed by spiritual teachers stirred something up from when you were a child, right? When you got betrayed by one of your caregivers, something like that. But that's all you have to do, is to feel. It's just to feel. So it's the same thing. And maybe you felt rejected because it's the 49, right? So it's the same thing, Gemini. Fear is just a frequency moving through your body. That's all it is. You're much, much bigger than this frequency of fear. Don't go into the story and try to understand it. What happened to me as a child, and I need all the proof. I need the details. No. You stick with the frequency. You just feel the frequency in your body. And it's very uncomfortable, I'm not going to lie. And this will lead to crying. And then this leads to this expansion of awareness that I talked about. And this is how we evolve. This is the only way we're going to evolve, Gemini, right? The only way we're going to get to this new evolutionary awareness system, spirit awareness, is through the emotional body, right? So not going into the stories at all. So that's what I would say. It's like, go right to the heart, right? It's like, oh, I've got a broken heart. Yeah. Okay. Anything else for Gemini? I think that's it. Some kind of betrayal. That's what I see. Yeah. And forgiveness. And it's around the sibling too, because, right, if you go to the 3rd house. Yeah. Forgiving a sibling. Remember, forgiveness isn't always about what they did. It's about what they didn't do, too. We have to forgive people for that and to let them go. Don't be dragging that into this new age of Aquarius. Yeah, stay out of the story page. That's right, stay out of the story. Okay. Rejection is very, very painful. But as long as you don't reject yourself, because that's the real pain. Because people will reject you. Because you have to remember that we're just aspects, like the people in our world. Of course, they're human and they have their own life and stuff, but they represent aspects of us, you know? So if you're rejecting a person in your life, you know, I don't like that person, I'm rejecting them. Maybe, they're too emotional. They're always in some kind of drama and they're sobbing all the time. And why can't they get it together? It's like, I'm rejecting them. I'm avoiding them. Well, you're rejecting that part of you that's emotional, right? You have to bring it back inside to you. Okay. So where are we now? Cancer. Cancer the crab. Cancer the crab. the Cancers are in the 8th house. That's right, right? Yeah. The 8th house. So feeling rejected by a marriage partner. Facing the fear of rejection. This is Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Facing the fear of rejection by a marriage partner. Money too. It's the house of money, other people's money. And you can reject it. Because some people conflate money with love. Let's see the card. But that's a very transformational house. Cancer, the 8th house. That's a rebirth house for sure. It's the house of the shadow, too. But the deep, deep wounds there. So it's triggering a deep, deep wound within you. Of facing this fear of rejection by your marriage partner. Okay. What's Cancer got here? Let's see what Cancer is. Oh. We got 2 of those, so I'll talk about them while I do this card. So it's dissatisfaction. It's the shadow of dissatisfaction. You see right there. The shadow of dissatisfaction. And it's the gift of vitality. So you're dissatisfied with how things are going, Cancer, with your marriage partner. You're not liking it. That's the ego. You're not liking where this is going. And it's in the cells of your being, right? Of your body. Is I'm not liking this. I'm dissatisfied. I want things to change. I don't like the road I'm on. And then you got this. This is like the unhealthy relationship card right here. It's the gift of sensitivity, but it's the shadow of codependency. So it's bringing up codependency issues. So maybe your partner is codependent on you. Or you're both codependent. You just have different expressions of it, right? One is I'm independent. I don't need anybody. That's not true. And then the other is I'm completely dependent on you. You're my savior. Yeah. So it's bringing up this emotional reaction, right? You're getting emotional about your marriage partner rejecting you. You're feeling rejected. So you're lashing out, right? Lashing out. And this dissatisfaction. It's got a lot of fuel, right? That 49's got a lot of fuel. Because the reaction can happen really, really quickly. Has that ever happened in your life? Or it's just like I don't know. It's like something just took over me. Something just took over me. And I just started screaming. And I was so angry. And right? And you're looking at it in hindsight. It's like, wow, I don't understand how I acted that way. That's how fast these reactions can happen. Especially in the 8th house, Cancer. Right? And Cancers are feelers anyway. Right? Oh, she's got 2 cards here. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So you got the codependency, Cancer, and then you got the moving on. 6 of air, 6 of swords is like, I'm moving on. That's what it's saying. You got to be moving on. You're clinging to this. You're clinging to this because you don't want to feel. You don't want to feel what you're doing, Cancer. I'm going to show you right now what you're doing. Where is he? This is the ego, right? Worm tongue. He represents the ego in my world, Cancer. So it's that voice in your head that you think is you've had since childhood, right? So what's happening is that these feelings of rejection are coming up. It's just a frequency of fear, right? Right here. So what you're doing is you're going straight to the ego and the mind, right? And you want to stay here. There's something wrong with him or her, my marriage partner. This is what's happening. There's other people that are influencing them. All the excuses to keep you away from feeling this, right? Feeling this rejection, like the fear of rejection, right? That you felt when you were a little child. You were rejected by maybe your father or your mother, right? 0 to 7 years old. That's what I see with this. And this card is saying it's time for you to move on from this relationship. Finally move on from this relationship. Face this codependency, right? This shadow of codependency and this fear of rejection, right? So you can expand here. Remember? We're evolving into spirit awareness. This is unity consciousness. The only way through is the emotional body. So that's what it's saying is you got to feel. You got to feel this, and then you can finally let go of this marriage partner, right? It's hard sometimes, right? Especially as a Cancer, because Cancers cling. They can cling, right? Yeah. And what it's saying is this vitality is going to come back. I feel like this is draining your energy just because you got this card. Because this is life force energy. Your life force is being drained. Trying to hold this back, hold these emotions down of rejection. You know, maybe out of pride. Because you got the strength card there. That's the Leo card. So it could be pride, the shadow of pride. And this is saying that you've, to draw on your strength. Your inner strength. This is about making you stronger. Cancer, this is a whole experience that you're in right now. It's to make you strong within yourself. Not needing, right? Not jumping into another relationship and continuing this dynamic of codependency, but actually being strong. Like the lion, right? The lion, king of the jungle. Strong and confident and compassionate. Yeah, you can see that angel, right, with the little infinity above her head. And taming, right? Because it's also the strength card is about taming this lower nature. That's like, I need somebody, I need somebody, I need to be in a relationship, I need to be in a relationship. It's like, go deeper. Where is this coming from? What's going to come from here? The 0 to 7 years old. That needs to come up to be felt. And then you can morph from codependency into sensitivity. This is like you're connected to all the other realms, all these different realms, vibrational realms, right? That's the gift, is being sensitive. It's like you're expanding it beyond you and the ego. I need. To like, oh, I can see what everybody needs. Everybody in my life needs. That's the sensitivity. So there's a gift there. So it's about facing this fear of rejection. That's what I see for Cancer. And to be moving on. Get on your sailboat and move on. It's time to move on. There's calmer waters ahead for you. You can see that guy. There's calmer waters ahead. And to stop clinging. Stop clinging to the marriage partner because it's draining your vitality. Okay. So that's a big full moon. Cancer is ruled by the moon anyway, so they're going to be affected by that. Yeah. Okay. That's for Cancer. And then let's go for Leo. Leo the lion, speaking of which. Leo the lion, yeah. And that, of course, is in the 7th house. The full moon in the 7th house. So, this is fearing being rejected by a partner. So it could be your marriage partner, your romantic partner, a business partner. Rejected by another person. But it's usually a relationship, feeling rejected. Facing your fear of rejection by a partner. And forgiving yourself, right? Because it's in your first house. Forgiving yourself. Not to be intolerant of yourself. You want people loving you for who you are. exactly who you are. Not what you could be, but who you are. A lot of people that get in relationships and it's more like a project, you know what I mean? It's like a piece of furniture they're picking up. Well, if I did this and I gave it a makeover and I did that, and they treat relationships like that. You got to accept the person as they are. That's what that's saying. So remember that rejection goes back to childhood. And also look at the ways too, Leo, and how you're avoiding that fear of rejection. Because we can avoid facing those fears. Oh, that's interesting. So you got the Six of Cups, and that's all about the childhood. It's all about childhood. But it's in the 7th house, so this is rejected. Fear of rejection from a soulmate. The Six of Cups is soulmate. Because it's about the past. So it's your childhood, but it's also past lives. You could have been rejected by a soulmate that you're meeting in this lifetime that you were rejected by in a past life. Or maybe you rejected them in your past life. It's bringing up memories, emotional memories. Okay. Maybe you feel if you get in a relationship that you'll be rejected by the society won't accept your relationship, that you yourself will be rejected. Okay, what's the card here for Leo? But it goes back to childhood just because it's the Six of Water, Six of Cups. It's a memory. Okay. So you got the 53 there. You can see that comes off the root chakra there. That's the shadow of immaturity. It's the gift of expansion. With this. Okay. So it's showing that you're emotionally growing. You're being called to emotionally grow for this full moon in the shadow of reaction. I just want to do one more card there. This is the thing, right? We're growing up, right? We're becoming spiritual adults. Leo. It's you're letting go. That's what I feel like. You're letting go of an old emotional pattern from your childhood so that you can expand. It also has to do with prosperity too. The 53 is about superabundance is the city. But you're expanding. So taking responsibility, right, for your own inner child. That's what I see with Leo. With Leo, taking responsibility for this. So that means that you know without a doubt, right, that if you're rejected, if you have that experience of getting rejected by a partner or a potential partner, that it's okay because you won't reject yourself. You're not going to reject that inner child that's hurt. Right? That's hurt. You're going to take care of your own inner child. You don't need that partner to take care of your inner child. You're going to take care of it yourself. That's what this is saying here. And that's maturity. Right? That you're responsible for your own self. Your own quality of experience, you're responsible for. Nobody else is. Yeah. And then you've got the Seven of Pentacles. You can see him with the tree. So this is about being patient. So being patient with yourself, right? If you do experience this rejection or even facing it, that's the best way to do, is do the work in the ethers before it has to manifest in the material world. Same with dreams. If you're a dream, I'm a lucid dreamer. I do lots of work in my dreams, and I love doing it that way because then it doesn't have to manifest in the external world, you know? So to do this energetic work, it's like I'm going to just face it. I'm going to face this fear of rejection. I'm setting a prayer, sending a prayer out, and let it come to me, and then I'm going to face it, right? And being patient with yourself. Yeah. It's about investment of your energy too. So you want to invest in the right relationship, right? That's on board with this. That's on board with maturity. That doesn't, right? That's equal. That's what I see here too. Yeah. And being patient, right? Being patient. That's the thing, right? You put the seeds down. You put the seeds down, and then you have to wait. And you have to wait patiently for them to start to grow. Yeah. And that's what it means to be mature. Not the child, right? I want it now. I want it now. I don't want delayed gratification. I want it now. I want it now. So that's what I see as a maturation process going on for the Leos around their partnerships and their relationship with other people. Yeah. And letting go of these old childhood traumas, these old patterns, these relationship patterns, these emotional defenses. You're letting that go, Leo. Okay. Okay. So let's go for, I think that's it for Leo. Yeah, that's it for Leo. Have to double check on that. Okay, now we're for Virgo. The Virgos. And that's in their 6th house. So Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, happening in their area of health, feeling rejected, facing the fear of rejection with their health. We can feel like our body's rejecting us, you know? If we get sick, it needs to be tended. It's also about your work, Virgo. There could be worry too. That's the house of worry. Worry. And conflict. There's a lot of conflict in that house too. Feeling rejected, just what's coming to me is feeling rejected if other people don't agree with you. We can get attached, right? The ego can get attached to like going, I'm attached to my okay, I'm not sure if that's it or not. I'm attached to my thoughts and my opinions, and if anybody disagrees with them, it's like they're not rejecting my opinion, they're rejecting me. That's how the ego can think sometimes. Okay, what's for Virgo? What's for Virgo? What's for Virgo? That's 6th house. Yeah, Virgo needs to stay out of their head. You need to stay out of the story, Virgo. So when you're going through your emotional trigger, it's to not go into the head and try to control the situation or fix the other person. Yeah, this has to do with your relationships. It's the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups. Partnership, commitment, reconciliation. So those are the ones that get in, right? With conflict and emotional triggering is our relationships. Is our relationship. Yeah. So fear of rejection by your relationship. It's about conflict. That's what I see as conflict. So to face that fear of feeling rejected by your partner. The Two of Cups. Okay. And we got struggle. You see that? The Gene Key card there. Struggle. It's the shadow of struggle. And then the shadow of corruption. Shadow of corruption and shadow of struggle here. So, conflict. I'm surprised we didn't get the conflict card. So conflict is part of the creative process, you know? So where the ego can get in is the ego, Virgo, wants the other to agree. Well, the ego's version of love is like, well, that person agrees with everything I say. Of course, that means they love me. That person anticipates every one of my needs. That means they love me, right? The ego doesn't cause me any problems, right? That person doesn't cause me any problems. So that means that person, like the definition of love is the ego just gets whatever it wants. You know, that's not the definition of love. This creates conflict, right? When two people get together, especially two of Cups people, this is soulmates, get together. The two of Cups is not about like two egos getting together, and whenever you get ego together, there's always going to be this conflict. But what you're getting to here is the gift of perseverance, is persevering through the struggle, like persevering through the struggle. Okay, this is just part of the creative process. It always involves friction. The creative process, it always involves conflict. And then, we're going to persevere through this. So it's not about you're wrong and I'm right, or I'm right and you're wrong. We're going to persevere through what's this conflict about. Remember, the new Aquarian age relationships are there's no such thing as my problem or your problem. It's our problem. So if one person in the partnership is expressing something, the ego will say, well, it's their problem. I'm fine. I'm okay with us not spending any time together. I'm completely fine. You can't look at it like that anymore, relationships. It's like it's our problem. That person is expressing for the relationship, right? That is a problem. So it means it's your problem too. And it's like, oh, okay, it's showing us that we have some conflict to overcome here. We're going to persevere, right? And then you come to the truth. That's the point. It's getting to the capital T truth. And what's the truth? So whatever that is for you as a couple, and maybe it's deeper than just the details. You know what I mean? Like this is about emotional triggering. So it's about feeling the frequency. Well, when he or she doesn't spend enough time with me, I start to feel rejected. Right? I'm feeling this fear that my partner is rejecting me because it's bringing up this. God uses these relationships to get at this, to trigger this emotional body that needs to start releasing unintegrated emotions, right, from your past, from 0 to 7 years old. So the real root of this goes back to childhood, right? All these struggles that you have in your relationships, Virgo, it's not about controlling that other person and they're the problem if they just did what I wanted them to do. Virgos can be quite like stubborn, you know. So it's persevering through like what's the real root cause of this in our relationship, and it's going to be this, right? I'm feeling rejected by my partner, and that's what needs to be expressed. Not you need to do this and you need to do that so I can feel comfortable, right? So that I don't feel this, right? I talked about this in the emotional trigger video, if you guys want to watch that, the last one. And then that's the corruption. That's the shadow of corruption, is when you're sticking with that lower frequency energy of blame, 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 control, 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 and not to feel, right, what's really going on. That's the root of this, you know. And the corruption is the lower frequency energy, and it comes into equilibrium, right? So that comes into balance. So it's saying to persevere through the process. Don't go to the finish line. It's like it's uncomfortable. The process is uncomfortable because it's going to bring emotions up. It's going to bring up vulnerability. It's going to bring up powerlessness, all those feelings that we've got to let go from this childhood. But if you've got a good relationship, 2 of Cups is a good relationship where both are committed, right? Commitment is here. And working through this together, right? That's one of the best things you can say in a relationship. Is like, I'm here with you. Let's do this together. That's all women in particular want to hear. Men too, I think. We're in this together. Let's do this together. Let's persevere through this so then we can get to this, the juicy stuff, right? The spirit awareness, so we can get to that place. Not to stay in the nitpicking and the, you know, those couples bickering and back and forth. You wonder why they're together. Okay, so that looks good for Virgo. That's for Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Okay. Where are we now? Libra. Or for Libra, speaking of relationships, Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Relationship house. And that's in the 5th house, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there could be facing some fear of rejection around your creativity. Maybe you got a creative project, or you're thinking about doing a creative project, but you're fearing that it will be rejected by others. Or you have a child. Maybe your child is going through some, getting bullied at school or getting rejected, some way rejected by their friends, whatever. Let's see here. And artists can get very insecure, right? Because creativity is the heart. Like true creativity is the energy moving through the heart. That's what true creativity is. Not through the mind, right? It's coming through the heart. So that's a vulnerable place too, is to show people your art or something you've created. You get really insecure and fear that rejection because you feel so merged, right? That's the gift of Aquarius, is detachment, being able to detach. Okay. Oh, interesting. Libra. So you got the dishonesty card, and that has to do with the shadow of dishonesty. So that's around your relationships. Oh, it's the 5th house, so it's romance. That's where the relationships start, right? They start in the 5th house with the romance and the courting and dating. They move to the 7th house, commitment, deeper commitment. And then the 8th house is which is sexual. Oh, interesting. So Libra's got the Strength card. And that's Leo. And Leo is the traditional ruler of the 5th house. Right there. And let me just turn that off. Yeah, so this is about your romantic relationships, Libra. Feeling you need to face the fear of rejection by a romantic partner. Yeah. And it's interesting with the 59 that the fear, this is such the cosmic joke, right? Is the fear, the deeper fear of the 59 is really fear. We fear the opposite sex, right? We fear the opposite sex. And that's what attracts us together. I think that's so hilarious. God has such a sense of humor, how we're designed, you know? So this is the old way too. I feel like we're transcending these shadow patterns because this is part of the shadow of dishonesty. Is not revealing too much about yourself, not revealing too much of yourself to the person that you're attracted to, who you really fear. So attraction is rooted in fear. That's what it is. It's at the genetic level. We are attracted to what we fear, right? That's what gives it the zing. So that's why you hear of people getting caught up in the friend zone. You know, the friend zone? See, there's a point in the relationship where it just topples and, oh, we're just friends. Because they become too familiar to you. They become too... Now, this is the old way. I feel like this is changing for the Aquarian age. Because all relationships, I feel, are based in friendship. That's the foundation. It's not just not me that thinks that way. Like other teachings echo that too. So this makes us dishonest. So you could be dishonest with your romantic partner, you know, not giving too much away, not being open, right? But what the gift here is intimacy. So it's about facing that fear of being rejected and then just fearing that person. So it's just about feeling, Libra, right there. Right? All this stuff that's coming up, the fear of your romantic partner, fear of being rejected by your romantic partner, is just a frequency. And it's just a frequency moving through me. That's all it is. I'm not going to go into the story. I'm not going to listen to my ego and mind giving me all the reasons why I have to keep my cards. Well, he's not or she's not revealing too much about themselves, so I'm not going to reveal too much about myself. I'm not going to tell them this. I'm not going to be I'm going to be dishonest, right, with that person. Don't listen to that, right? It's just about feeling this frequency moving through the body, that person, that romantic partner is a messenger. That's it. They're bringing up all these old frequencies from your childhood that are coming up, right, to be cleared. And then that gives the gift of intimacy and transparency. Is the city, is transparency. It's 59. It's the bonding. This is part of the bonding channel. And then strength, having the strength, drawing on the strength and the perseverance and the courage, right? The courage to be transparent, to work through those fears, the fear of rejection, the genetic fear of this new romantic partner, and just really, truly be yourself, you know? So that's happening with the fifth house. So I just really see that it's relationship based for Libra. It's to be open and honest, and Libras like to be the people pleasers, and now it's time to step out of that, right? Step out of that and have the courage and the strength that you can draw upon now. I'm just going to be myself. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to hide myself from this romantic partner, potential romantic partner, or your romantic partner now. Okay. So let's go for Scorpio. the Scorpions. And that is in the 4th house, right? Scorpio. 4th house. This is about facing the fear of rejection by your mother. By your mother. Right here. So that's what's coming up. That's the origins of it. But you may, it may not be, maybe your mother's not alive now, right? But it will come through. That's the beauty of spirit awareness. It's going to move through, right? Anyone that can play the role of your mother and will reject you. So you can bring up these feelings of rejection, Scorpio, from when you were a child, right? The 0 to 7 years old. Remember, this is what we're working through for our evolution, right? It's purifying that emotional body. Okay. And Scorpios like to react. They're very passionate sign. Scorpio's deep. So they'll listen to this. They'll listen to that ego. Right? Giving all those excuses why that to distract yourself. Right? It's that person's problem. They're doing this and they betrayed me, and blame, complain, but it keeps you from the real work, right? Which is to feel. You want to be feeling. That's all you have to do, Scorpio, is to feel it. Feel what's coming up. But it's around your mother. Feeling rejected by your mother. And that's the worst, right? Because our earthly mothers give us our identity. So if your mother's rejecting you as a child, they're rejecting your identity. It stunts your spiritual development, right? When you don't know who you are. Okay, what's Scorpio got to see here for the 4th house? In effects, right, the mother teaches us how to nurture ourselves, Scorpio. So you may be rejecting that part of you that your mother rejected. Right? You're too needy, whatever your mother said to you, you're too needy. You're weak, whatever she said. You're going to reject that part of you that had needs as a child. Okay. Okay, we'll take these two. We got this one before. This is the 10 of Wands. You can see her right in the kitchen. Just overburdened. So this is saying that it's exhausting for you to hold down these feelings, Scorpio. Right? You're a deep feeler already. But to trying to repress these feelings. It's the tsunami that's moving through us, right? As a collective. Right? The tsunami of love is moving through our emotional body. So it can be... It's saying that you're stressed out at home, too. You're stressed out at home. You're overworking. You're probably compensating. I'll get into this just a sec till we get this card here. And then you've got the Page of Swords too. So this is about being truthful and communicating. Yeah. What's really going on with you. So as children, what we do, especially if we're rejected by a parent, Scorpio, is we create these false identities, and they come from our emotional body because we're seeking unconditional love. That's what we're seeking as children, unconditional love. So maybe your mother was overburdened, let's say. Your mother was overburdened. Maybe she had a job, she had kids to raise. She's exhausted all the time. Well, you want unconditional love. So what do? Is you create this false personality that's overworking. That's mother's little helper, right? I have no needs of myself. This is like the mask. I have no needs of myself, no emotional needs. And I'm just gonna be helping around the house. I'm gonna be doing all the mother duties while she's at work. Maybe taking care of my siblings, whatever. You get the point. You compensate, but it's not really you. It's not authentic, because there's an agenda. I want my mother's love. I want her unconditional love. And guess what? This follows you into adulthood, and then you play this role over and over and over again. It's not working anymore. Right? For you, Scorpio. What it's saying is to be truthful. It's like, I can't do this in my home life anymore like I used to when I was a child to get love. I can't do it anymore. I'm too exhausted. I'm going to start speaking the truth. This isn't working for me anymore in my home life, But where it's really coming from is this rejection. And look what you got. You got the 49 card. That's the full moon, right? So this is rejection. So it's time to have a rebirth. And the revolution is for you to feel this. So Scorpio, all you do, this is so easy. This is how simple life can be. It's how simple life is. It's the mind that makes it all complex. Right? Fear of rejection. I've felt fear of rejection from my mother. I've been running and distracting myself with this false identity, and I'm exhausted. I'm totally exhausted of running away from these feelings, right? As you feel the frequency moving through your body, you don't go into the story, right? You don't make up a story, a mental story. You don't focus on the person that's bringing up these feelings. It has nothing to do with them. You stop and you just feel the frequency, right? It's very, very uncomfortable, and that leads to crying. That's the side effect that you're healing, right? The after effect. And this leads to an expansion of awareness. That's what you do. So that's what it's showing you. And then you drop this, but it's about being honest. And then you're rebirthed. Scorpio loves rebirth, right? They're the transformational sign. In your emotions, in your emotional body, right? Start mothering yourself in a correct way and forgiving that mother of yours. Okay. Let's go for Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius. The Centaur. It should be 3, right? 1, 2, 3, yep. Sagittarius. The great thing is when you start to understand these patterns, it makes you so much more compassionate towards other people. That's what I find. You're sensitive to not reject others, right? Because you know what it feels like to be rejected. But this is a common, right? It's one of the 6 primal wounds of humanity. So it's one of those universal ones. Fears of rejection. And this is what the powers that be use, right? This fear. People don't want to be rejected from society. We're social beings, humans. Okay, so Sagittarius, it's happening in the 3rd house. So you could be facing the fear of rejection by your sibling, by siblings, by the way you're thinking, the way you're speaking. Maybe that's being rejected. And you got the 2 of Pentacles there. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, so it's thinking, the way you're communicating and speaking. You may not be truthful. You may not be truthful because you fear rejection by others. And again, it's this ego, right? The ego attaches itself. That's what it does. It attaches to everything, Sagittarius. So your thoughts, they're not you. They're just thoughts. But the ego is like, well, if that person doesn't agree with me or rejects my thoughts, then they're rejecting me, right? And you got to embrace the archetype of Aquarius, which is to detach. It's like you're not your thoughts. You're just sharing your thoughts. That person isn't rejecting me. They're just rejecting my thoughts and what I had to say. And then you've got the Two of Pentacles here, which is about balancing and juggling. Juggling. Okay. So the third house is also a small team environment. Could be a small work team because you got the 44 there. This one. Gene key. And that's interference, the shadow of interference. That's misjudging people. Could be misjudging people. And then you got the Queen of Cups, Sagittarius. So that's loving, giving, very psychic. Yeah. So to me, it's saying that you're not being authentic. That's what I see, Sagittarius. You're not being authentic in your communication. Right? You're juggling. The Two of Pentacles is juggling. What does that person want to hear? What does that person want to hear? It's not coming from a true place. You know? So this is saying to come into balance. To come into balance with yourself. Let's look at here. And to be more compassionate too in your communication. That's what it is. More compassionate. Not to, I know what it is. Because this is a stress card too. The Two of Pentacles is stress. So there could be a reaction. You could be reacting to people from stress, like getting snappy and short with people. People in your work team, right? Which is causing interference, right? Where there's not harmony in your work team. But it's really saying to be more compassionate and loving in your communication. And open, right? It's about fear of rejection, fearing rejection from the small workplace you live in or your siblings. It's to take the walls down around your heart. That's what I see, right? Be more loving in your communication. That you don't have to sound perfect. Because I've seen filter, like this is a filter card. I'm going to filter everything. If you watch politicians talk, you can see the filtering happening. What does that person want to hear? What should I say? What shouldn't I say? You know? And this is like, just give it to the heart and let the heart speak. And the heart will organize all the words for you perfectly. And this will take down the interference. Because this, you know what this is saying? You're attracting the wrong people to you. This shadow of interference is bringing the wrong people to you. Karmic. It's bringing karmic people to you. Yeah. That aren't interested in what you have to say. And then you're fearing they're going to reject you. And of course they will reject you. So face the fear of rejection. Communication gets smoother through this Queen of Water energy, which is about opening your heart. Anything else for Sagittarius? I feel like Sagittarius is really getting big lessons around their communication and their effect that they have on people. And you'll notice with the frequency of your voice can really affect how your message is received, Sagittarius. So if you're in a victim state, this is what this Two of Earth is about. In a victim state, like I'm so stressed out and I got all these things to juggle. And then you go to speak, right? Your words could be very true, but if they have that frequency of fear, because that's what stress is fear. It's not going to be received. And this is this interference pattern, you know? And this is just creates drama, you know? Karmic relationships and drama and conflict and all of that. And this is the medicine here, right? Is this to speak from the heart, to be more of the Queen of Cups, loving and compassionate, taking your time and relaxing, checking in with your frequency. Like, what's my frequency right now? Oh, then maybe this isn't a good time to talk, right? I feel stressed out. I'm going to go take care of myself, you know, for a little bit, get myself centered, and then I'll go and I'll communicate, right? When I'm in a truer place. Yeah. Yeah. And facing this fear of rejection, in terms of your communication. Yeah. And if people disagree with you, that's fine, right? That's fine. Let them disagree. They're having their experience of you. You have no control over that. Okay. And the other thing too, I just wanted to add is like these people could feel rejected by you too with your Sagittarians are very good with the language, right? Language and their use of words and things like that. To watch that, to go into this Queen of Water, yeah, energy, to be more compassionate and loving and giving. Okay, because these reaction, right? These emotional patterns can happen so quickly in a split second. And you're wondering, why all the conflict with these people? Why are they lashing out? I don't understand. Well, you got to go back to you, right? You have to go back to you and check in. Like, where was I? What state of consciousness was I in when I talked to that person? Was I all stressed out? You got to pretend, you know, when you go to a yoga class or a meditation class, you don't just barge in there. Say you're late, I'm going to just barge in there because you're bringing all that crazy energy with you. It's like you're a Tasmanian devil, right? With the energy all around you, right? You take a moment, right? If you're entering that space, it's like, I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to get my breath together. I'm going to ground. I'm going to feel my feet on the ground, take a few deep breaths, and then I'm going to walk in, gracefully walk in, you know? So imagine that with your encounters, when you're encountering people. It's like, I'm going to just take a moment before I speak and I interact with this person. I'm going to make sure that I'm not in a stressed state because it's just going to make it worse, right? And then check in with this fear of rejection too, right? Am I speaking from avoiding the fear of rejection, or am I rejecting others because I don't want them to reject me, right? Things to leave behind for this full moon, for Sagittarius. Okay, so let's go for Aquarius. No, we forgot the Capricorns. Okay, the Capricorns. Okay. So this could be affecting your self-value, your sense of self-value. This full moon is to let that go. If you've been battling with self-esteem issues, Capricorn. And money, of course, right? Feeling rejected. Because some people are very identified with the material world. You may know some of those people. They conflate their sense of self-value with the amount of money and the material possessions they have. To watch that. So they would feel rejected, right, if their bank account was low or they couldn't earn money. right? That life provided these experiences where the money wasn't flowing in. Again, you got to go to your emotions, Capricorn. You got to go to those emotions. We want emotional development. Emotional maturity means that energy is moving. Emotions are moving. That's healthy. And then that is reflected. The external reflects that back to us, that health, that emotional health. Right? So feeling that rejected, like I'm going to be rejected. So look at that, like if I'm reacting, it's like money, getting obsessive about money. Or myself, my body. To go deeper, that is this fear of rejection that you're really avoiding. Okay. So remember that the money is just a messenger. To look at it like that, right? The money, if I'm having money issues, it's not really money issues. It's self-value issues. But in this case, it's really emotional issues. I'm having some emotional issues. Emotions aren't moving because I can't figure things out with my head anymore. We're moving into an emotional awareness system. The spirit awareness system. This is the way through, not trying to figure it all out with the mind. It's not going to work anymore, not for you, Capricorn. Okay. So you've got the Three of Cups card, so that's friendships. So you may be feeling the fear of being rejected by your friends. They got all this money, right? They got all this money. They're married to, maybe they're married to people that make a lot of money, and you don't got a lot of money, right? And you're gonna feel rejected because you don't have your bank account's not as full as your friends, right? Maybe that's what your friends value. Remember this time. The 49 is about the gate of values. What do you value? What do you truly value? Remember that the money comes and goes. Anything on the material doesn't really have a value. The only value that money has is what we give it. We've all agreed as a humanity, like this is what this is worth. And we're seeing with inflation, that's a total reflection of our consciousness, that the value of these little pieces of paper and coin is going down, because the true value is our spirit, right? So there could be this facing the fear of rejection around, and are they really your friends, right? If they're going to reject you because, oh, she doesn't have any money. She can't do this. She can't do that with us. And then the judgment, right? So you want to look at this. Do these friends have the same values as me, right? With the Two of Cups. This could also be showing too that you're distracting yourself from this fear of rejection by going out drinking too much, Capricorn, or partying too much to distract yourself from the real issue and the real work, which is this, right? These emotions coming up that need to be felt. Yeah. Oh, and you got the 2. Well, interesting. So that's the second gene key that I talk about. And that is the North Node. See the North Node? 2.5. That's the karmic axis. That's where you're being called to go. That's your destiny path. That's what this time is all about. You know? Yeah. And this is about getting you oriented, right? Getting you on the right path. Yeah. And then you've got the Knight of Fire. That's the Knight of Wands. Confident, passionate, adventurous for Capricorn rising, sun, or moon. So this could be a person that you're inspired by in the second, coming in the second house, coming towards you, running towards you, and feeling rejected maybe feeling that fear of rejecting and rejecting this, rejecting that Knight of Wands coming towards you, right? Let's, I want to do one more card just to get the picture here. Capricorn always gets more cards than the rest. It's really about your self-value. That's what I see. It's not to reject yourself. No matter if you've got, 10 billion in the bank or you have $5 in your bank account. You still have the same sense. You still have the same value. I think that's what you're letting go of. But it's also about the shadow of feeling lost, right? Feeling lost in your life. Maybe looking to your money. Capricorn. Let's see, what's another card for Capricorn just to put the story together. That's way too many. Feeling lost around earning money. How are you going to earn money, Capricorn? But your intuition is telling you. I just feel like these friends are a big distraction because my oh, look at that. Because I'm really focused on the cups and the drinking. Keeping you from your destiny. Big distraction from your destiny. And I feel like you're overly influenced by these friends that are very materialistic, that are more in this consciousness, the Titanic, right? The little G, the educational system, all that's going down in the Titanic. They're not aligned with big G, right? And it's a big distraction that's keeping you lost, the shadow of lost, from your north node, where you're headed, where your compass is, your intuition is telling you exactly where you need to go, right? Yeah. And these friends, they could be like past life connections, shared past lives with them, and maybe they pulled you away, right? Karmically pulled you away over and over and over again, and here they are again, right? In this lifetime as a big distraction, There's a great story. I'm just thinking of this story that Yogi Bhajan told when he actually died. I think he was dead like for 20 minutes or something, but he came back and he talked about his experience. And he said that he was walking through the tunnel or whatever, and he said, I had a choice. I had a choice to go this way or that way. And he said one way was with all my friends, and they were all drinking chai tea and laughing and having fun, And the other way was the snowy path. He could see the other way was like to go through the snowy path alone up the mountain. And he knew which choice he had to make. And it was to go up to that snowy mountain alone. That this was a big distraction and a big temptation right here, right? To be with your friends and comfortable, and they're not pressuring you to grow or anything. They just want you to stay the same. Stay with us. Stay with us and let's party down on the Titanic. Let's party down on the Titanic. And meanwhile, Capricorn, it's coming closer and closer to that iceberg. And it's already hit the iceberg, I think, and it's already started, right? The bow is just dipping into the water now. That's what I see for Capricorn, right? This is a temptation that you have to surpass. And this is the fear of being alone, too. There's the fear of being alone with the 49. Because you're rejected from society. It's the fear of rejection, the fear of being rejected by these friends. You know? But meanwhile, what are you rejecting? You're rejecting your soul, basically. You're rejecting your soul purpose. That's what you're rejecting, right? So it's time to start valuing yourself, not taking on the values of these other people, right? Like check in, like really check in. Like I want to look in truth. Send a prayer out to your higher self. Show me these friends in truth. Show me that these friends in truth. What's their intention? I tell you right now, as soon as you start moving away in frequency from these friends, they start reacting because these are friends of habits. They're not friends of consciousness. They're friends of habits. That's what I see here. And they're keeping you lost. The shadow of lost, right? Keeping you away from your soul purpose. A true friend is your friend of consciousness, wants you to be yourself, to be your authentic self, wants you to do your soul purpose, even if that means not being friends anymore. That's a true friend. That's what you want in your life. Yeah, I see that as the block. And then you've got the 10 of Cups, Capricorn. The 10 of Cups, and then this Knight of Wands coming towards you. Your true happiness and fulfillment, right? I don't see this as a big distraction and a temptation from your soul purpose at all. This is family, love, and blessings. So it's about getting over this fear of rejection by these friends, right? These friends, because you know deep down they're going to reject you because you don't share the same values anymore. You've grown, you know? And sometimes it means people getting hurt, you know? To say, I can't do this anymore. I can't go out drinking with you and this and that. I'm really committed to my spiritual journey now, right? And I don't care if you think I'm a freak or a weirdo. It's who I am. It's who I really am. And it could hurt them, but they're going to have their own experience of that. And maybe one of them or two of them will say, hey, what are you into? What are you doing? Right? Maybe you could be a role model for your friends. Yeah. So to me, it's to stop hiding, right? To stop hiding in the shadow and to get over this fear of rejection. Yeah. Because it's keeping you locked into place. It's keeping you partying on the Titanic with these friends. Right? Okay. Okay. Let's finish it off with Aquarius. And of course, it's in the first house. So that's Capricorn. Remember, Capricorn, Pluto's moving your sign in March into Aquarius. Okay. We already did Pisces, right? Yeah. So Aquarius is in the first house. You know, it's better to be alone. It's better to be alone than with wrong people. Because you can feel more alone when you're with the wrong people. Okay. So Aquarius is in the first house. So this is fear of rejection of yourself. That you'll be rejected. Could be around your body too and your appearance. Facing this fear of rejection. Okay. There's Aquarius. Okay. So you got the Page of Fire, the Page of Wands, creative, enthusiastic, motivated. And the first, so you're ready to break out, Aquarius. You're ready to break out. So I listened to someone the other day, I forget who it was, and they were saying about, because there's so many like divorces and breakups happening with people, because it's the musical chairs, right, of relationships right now. People leaving and people getting into new relationships that are more aligned. And he said, it's not a breakup. He goes, it's a breakout. I like that. It's a breakout of an old state of consciousness, right? You're breaking out into the new. And then releasing that person too, right? To go with their person. Okay. So Aquarius is creative, enthusiastic, and motivated. Okay. What's the card for her? Oh. Aquarius got the 2 as well as Capricorn. So there's a connection with Capricorn and Aquarius. Okay. So feeling that you'll be rejected. I feel like there's already a rebirth for you happening, Aquarius. Sun, moon, or rising. That you're getting excited about life again. And it's a message. So you could be attracting a person that's very much like a Page of Fire. Like youthful. Could be your child too. That's creative and excited about life and motivated. But maybe you're feeling that that part of you is rejected. Because it's very childlike too. So it might go back to your childhood. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then you've got the 9 of Pentacles. Self-reliant. You got the Sun, which is the happy card. Yeah. It's the happy card. Okay. So yeah, just feeling rejected by fears of being rejected. This new self, that's what I see. It's like this new self submerging. Right? That's really self-reliant. Aquarius, you're self-reliant. You're happy. You're independent. You got the Sun there. Right? You're shining. Yeah. And you're moving on. Right? You're moving on to your North Node. You're surrendering to life. You're taking where life is taking you. That's all I see is like a little bit of polishing for the Aquarius. Yeah. Is to get excited about life again, you know? And this is the thing. We have to go towards our emotional fulfillment now, Aquarius. And happiness. The divine wants us to be happy right now, you know? And to get off the Titanic and start moving towards where the divine is taking us, and that's that second gate. Yeah. It's funny, I don't see any real problem here. Yeah. At all. Just watch that, because sometimes we move forward and then there's the backlash. You know, like when a boat moves through water, the water that it displaces tries to come back. So that may be your work, right? It's like, oh, why did I do that? Or it's just bringing up old childhood stuff, right? Of when you felt rejected, when you were passionate and enthusiastic. And the thing is, if your parents they're not in that energy and they're all in doom and gloom and pessimism, that a child that's expressing this sun energy and this like enthusiasm and excitement about life can trigger the parent, and the parent will try to reject that part of the child. But to me, my sense is like no, you're really letting this come out. You're really, really letting this come out now. Yeah. And you got, right, and the sun card's very enthusiastic too. Shining. So you're shining, Aquarius, as you now. You're coming out, right? It's the first house. It's how you're approaching life. More and more enthusiasm has come back into your life, and more contentment, right? Content with yourself. It's also saying too that money will come to you too in this position. Yeah. So the only thing to do is to forgive your ex-partners or your partner. Yeah. Because remember, we can't really leave somebody until we love them. So you don't want to be dragging any resentment into your new relationships at all, Aquarius. Okay. I think that's it. I just feel like things are settling down for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Okay. There we go. Wow, the time flies, eh? Okay. Just wanna... Okay, you guys. Okay. What else do I want to say before we part ways? Because so we got the full moon in 2 days. I just really feel that everybody's being guided right now. Like your intuition is so strong. It's just to follow, to start, just to make the leap of faith, right? That's what it takes, is to surrender and take the leap of faith. And only you can do it. And this is part of the spiritual test that we're all under. You know, are we going to trust the divine? Are we going to trust our intuition? Or are we going to stay clinging to our mind and our ego that's taking us down, right? That's taking us down. Yeah. And to just take action, right? The Aquarian age is to take action. And just, so whatever you're being called to do, just bring it into your awareness. And it's like, oh, this fear of rejection, it's coming up, Michael talked about. And it's just like, stop and just feel it. And then that you'll have that expanded state of awareness. And then you will be able to take action. You'll have the confidence to take action, right? Yeah. And sometimes the act, just the sheer act of making that baby step will start clearing up all the energy, and it's going to give you more and more confidence. And then in the future, because I've had to deal with fear, that's my primal wound, is rejection. I've had to deal with that all of my life, right? Rejection. And now it's gotten to the point where it's not that I don't face it anymore, but it's not as strong, and it doesn't stop me. It doesn't stop me from going forward, listening to my intuition. You know, but it gets easier and easier and easier because it goes back to childhood. It's all about releasing the childhood wounding, right, of this rejection. Yeah. And be excited, right, for what's on the other side, right? The divine has lots planned for you in this lifetime, right? Your greatest, highest potential in this lifetime. Okay? So everybody have a good day or evening wherever you are in the world, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay. Sat Nam Aloha.